Alright, so class number 7 of doing online yoga. I hope you guys have been enjoying it so far. Just wanted to say a little bit about this class. We're going to focus today on gratitude. It's one of my favorite themes to teach throughout classes. I think especially now that we've all been in lockdown or isolation for a little while, it's really come through the things that we feel grateful for. So if you've come to my classes before, you know that we, every few weeks or so, we'll do a practice on gratitude. It's a nice little way of reminding ourselves all the things that we feel grateful for. Another thing that I love about gratitude as well is that it is impossible for the body to feel gratitude and stress at the same time. So this idea, this practice of bringing the mind back to what we feel grateful for is also a really nice coping mechanism when things get a little bit tough. So as always, find a nice comfy position. You have the option again today of starting off in Shavasana. You can come into extended child's pose, or you can find a seat depending on where your energy levels are at. So just take a moment here to get comfy, starting to bring yourself into your practice. You're just closing the eyes here and letting go of all the moments leading up to your practice. Starting to breathe a little deeper, maybe noticing the breath for the first time today. And before we start, just bringing an intention or a dedication into your practice. You know, something to work that energy towards, whether that be a friend or a family member in need of a little bit of extra energy. You can dedicate your practice to yourself for finding the time to give your body and mind what you need. And just taking a moment here to really focus on a dedication. If that's not obtainable for you today, you can always think of a little intention as well, a little goal behind your practice. So as we start to bring the mind inward here, first noticing maybe the breath. And then we'll take a moment here to also just check in with yourself and noticing how you're feeling physically or mentally today. And whenever you're ready, bringing one hand on the heart and the other on the belly, we'll start with our full yogic breath. So inhaling deeply into the belly, feeling the belly swell with air moving up through rib cage towards chest, holding the breath for a moment here as we exhale, chest to come down and belly to empty. Inhaling deeply, feeling the belly press against the hand, moving the breath up through the rib cage towards the chest, and exhaling, slowly letting chest come down and bringing navel to spine. So just starting to tune into your own rhythm here, finding that nice rhythmic breath, that deep, long breath here. Just maybe even making a little audible breath here, our Ujjayi breath. Letting the mind settle and feel calmed by the breath here. So gratitude is the healthiest of all human emotions. The more you express gratitude for what you have, the more likely you will have even more to express gratitude for. It's a beautiful way of rewiring the brain and eliminating stress and even improving on your sleep. So this practice of gratitude, of noticing and spending time to feel grateful, can overall improve so many aspects of our lives. Take 3 more deep rounds of breath here. And you've come to the end of your final breath. For those lying on the floor in Shavasana or in Child's Pose, keeping the eyes closed and moving mindfully, you can come to sit on your mat and just allow the hands to drop on the knees here. Finding that nice tall seat, so lifting from the base of the spine, just slightly tucking in the chin here. You can bring the shoulders down as well. We'll just keep the eyes closed for the beginning part of this practice. So inhale to sit tall and exhale, tucking chin into towards the chest and just letting the forehead point down towards the mat here. Trying to keep that deep cycle of breath going as we start to check in with all the muscles in the back of the neck here. And when you're ready, inhale to roll the chin over towards the left shoulder. And then exhaling, gently rolling it all the way around to the right. Moving real nice and slowly here. And bringing in these other elements and themes that we've been working on over the past few weeks. With this level of curiosity and awareness into our practice. One more round of breath here. And inhaling to return back to center, still keeping the eyes closed. Just going to do some rolls from the hips. So inhale to bring the chest forward here. And then exhale, curl through the spine, tucking chin to chest as you bring the circle behind you. So trying to make a full round of breath here, last for a full circle. Moving with intention here, nice and slow. And then playing around with this concept of gratitude throughout this practice today. So you can pick one thing to focus on to keep bringing into your practice, or, starting to list the large amount of things that you might feel grateful for at the moment. And then bringing the circle in the opposite direction. And we'll just start to make the circles a little bit smaller as we slowly bring ourselves to come back to center. Take your time, there's no rush, no hurried movements. And when you found yourself back in center in a nice tall seat, you can start to blink the eyelids open here. Just do a few quick circles with the shoulders. One way, and then we'll bring the circles in the opposite direction. Perfect. So we're going to place the right hand just down by our side here, really spreading the fingers nice and wide. Careful not to lock through the elbow here as well. Inhale to send the left fingertips up, and then exhale. We're going to reach towards the right side as we really start to ground through the left hip here. So making sure that we're not collapsing into the side body. The aim is to lift up and over. And just feeling this really lovely stretch throughout the left side. So inhale to open up through the chest. Maybe bring the gaze up towards the ceiling. Breathing nice and deeply, really active fingertips here. And then as we press into our right hand on an inhale, and we'll exhale to bring the left hand down. So Same again on the other side. Inhale to send the right fingertips up. And exhale, grounding into that right hip as we start to open up through the chest, pointing the fingertips. Inhaling to come back to center. Great, and then inhale to lift both arms up, relaxing through the shoulders here. Nice tall seat as we inhale, opening through the chest. And then exhale, we're going to cross the left hand over the right, coming into our Gomukhasana, our cow face arm pose. And then we'll bring the hands, you can either just bring the backs of the palms here to touch one another, or you can bring the fingertips into the palms here. So when you're ready, inhale to lift up through the hands, and then exhale, we're going to pull the shoulder blades down the back here. Sitting nice and tall, slightly tucking the chin in towards the chest. And with every breath, we're growing through the hands, and every exhale, we're sending the shoulders down the back. Really nice stretch to the backs of the shoulders here, and the shoulder blades. One more breath. Inhale to send the hands up, and then exhale, we'll release the arms out long again. Opening through the chest, so just pulling the hands behind us slightly. And then as we exhale, this time we're going to bring the right hand on top and come into that stretch on the other side. So inhale to lift the palms up, and exhale, bringing the shoulder blades down the spine, down the back here. One more breath. Inhale to lift through the arms, and then exhale, we'll release them here. Just give the arms a little shake out here. And then bring the hands in front, making our way into our tabletop position here. So fingers are spread nice and wide, wrists are underneath shoulders. And then we've got our knees about hip width apart. And we'll just bring the left foot up here, so curling through the toes. And then just coming forward and back here, just giving a little bit of a stretch to the calf muscles. Trying to activate the core here as well, so we're not collapsing into the wrists, we're really pressing away from the mat here. Perfect. And we'll just come onto the right side now. And then returning back to our tabletop, we'll bring the knees in together this time. And then bumping the hips to the left as we just turn to gaze over the right shoulder. And then bringing it onto the other side and just move with breath here. One more on each side. And just walking those knees again about hip width apart. So really press away from the mat here. We're tucking navel into the spine here, and then slightly tucking in the tailbone as well. So we look straight, and then inhaling here to send the belly nice and low, lifting up through the chest. And then exhaling as we start to curl through the spine, coming into our cat-cows. Moving with the rhythm of your own breath here. And always the option to add a little bit more extra movement here if needed. You can start to make some figures of 8 with the body, or you can send the hips down towards the heels. Just play around here, finding that nice fluid movement. taking 2 more rounds of breath here. Perfect. And then when you're ready, just walking the hands out in front. We're going to curl through the back toes, inhaling here, and as you exhale, starting to send the hips up and back. Coming into our downward facing dog. As always, take time here to pedal through the feet. So inhaling, coming up onto the tiptoes, sending the hips nice and high, and as we exhale, we're going to send the heels, just trying to keep that nice height in the hips here. And then we'll look towards the top of our mat, coming onto the toes again, and then just taking small baby steps to come about hip width apart, feet hip width apart, sorry. And then we'll just come into our ragdoll here. So taking hold of opposite elbows, letting head and neck fall. Keeping a good bend in the knees. Great. And whenever you're ready, just releasing the hands and pressing into the feet. Slowly going to start to unravel to come all the way up to standing. Just coming into our Tadasana, we're going to bring the hands behind us, interlacing the fingers as we inhale to press down through the hands, lifting up through the gaze and the chest. And then exhale, bending the knees, starting to come into this nice forward fold, lifting the arms up and over. So a really nice stretch into the shoulders here. One more breath. And then staying in this forward fold, we're just going to release the hands back down. Okay, pressing into the right hand, we're going to start to straighten through our left leg, sending the left fingertips up, and then we'll turn our gaze to point towards the fingertips here. So you should feel a nice stretch in the left hip here. One more breath, and then exhale to release. And we'll come up straight onto the other side. So inhale to send the right fingertips up, lifting up through the gaze here, straightening through the right leg. Careful not to lock the knees here as well. One more breath, inhaling deeply here, and as we exhale, releasing back down towards the mat. And then pressing into the feet, inhale, and we'll start to lift all the way up into our Tadasana. So this time we'll bring the hands up with us and interlacing the fingers and keeping the index fingers pointed up, relaxing the shoulders, and trying to lift that chest through here. Bring the gaze up, maybe coming into a slight back bend. As we exhale, coming into our forward fold. Inhale to lift halfway, and then exhaling to fold here. We're going to step the left foot back, coming onto the left knee, and finding ourselves in this nice low lunge. Breathing deeply here. Pressing into the hands, we're going to curl the back toes, coming into our high plank. Really pressing away from the mat with the hands here. And then exhale, lowering knees, bringing chin and chest down towards the mat. Inhale, we'll scoop up into our little cobra. And then exhale, make your way to your downward facing dog. Take 3 nice breaths here. looking towards the front of the mat, you can step, walk, or jump to the top. Inhaling to lift halfway, and then exhaling to fold here. Pressing into the feet, inhale to lift all the way to standing. And then exhale, bring the hands together at heart center. Inhale to release the hands upwards, and then exhaling, coming down into this forward fold. Inhale to lift halfway, and exhaling to fold here. This time stepping the right foot back, we'll come into this nice low lunge on the other side. Lifting up through the gaze, opening the chest here. Take a couple of breaths here. Perfect. Then curling through the back toes, we're going to come into our high plank. Really finding that strength here. And then exhale, lowering knees, chin and chest. Inhale to scoop up into our baby cobra. And then exhaling, tucking toes, lifting tailbone. Coming into downward facing dog here. Taking 3 nice breaths. Inhale to look towards the front of the mat. Step, walk, or jump here as we exhale to fold. Inhale to lift halfway, placing hands on tops of the thighs. And then exhaling to fold here. Pressing into the feet, inhale, coming all the way up to standing. And then exhale, hands together at heart center. Inhale to release the hands upwards, and then exhaling to float down. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale to fold. Then step the left foot back, just finding placement with the right, so making sure that knee is over your ankle here. We're going to come into a high lunge, so when you're ready, inhale to lift the hands up, and like we did before, interlacing the fingers, pointing fingers up. Inhale to open through the chest, and then exhale to find strength coming into this lunge. So settling down into it, really trying to pull the right hip crease back here so we can make sure that the hips are in line with one another. Inhale to lift through the fingertips, and then exhale, we're going to send the left fingertips forward as we send the right fingertips back here. Breathing deeply. Perfect. Inhaling to come back through. And then exhale, we're going to place both hands down onto the mat as we come into our what's it called? Plank. There we go. And then exhale, knees, chin and chest. And this time inhaling to press all the way up into our high cobra. So trying to pull the chest through the hands here. Perfect. Releasing from the cobra. Tucking toes, make your way back to your downward facing dog. And we'll take 3 breaths here. Inhale to look forward, and then step, walk, or jump towards the top of your mat. Inhaling to lift halfway and exhaling to fold. Pressing into the feet, leading with the hands, inhaling, coming all the way up to standing. And we'll go straight back into our sun salutation, so exhaling to fold here. Inhale, lift halfway, and then exhaling as we fold. This time stepping the right foot back, again taking time here to just make sure you're making a nice knee over ankle here. And when you're ready, inhaling to lift. Interlacing the fingers here, pulling that left hip crease back, and then exhaling to come into our nice high lunge. Chest is open. You're going to pull the shoulders down away from the ears here. Cultivating a little bit of strength. Inhale to lift the hands up, and then exhale, we're sending the right fingertips forward as we bring the left behind us. inhaling to come back through to center. And then exhale, we're going to plant the hands back down, stepping into our high plank. Lowering knees, chin and chest. Inhaling up into our high cobra. And then exhale, tucking toes, lifting tailbone. Coming into our downward facing dog here for 3 breaths. Inhale to look towards the top of your mat. Step, walk or jump here. And exhale to fold. Inhale, coming up halfway. And exhaling to fold. And then pressing into the feet, lifting with the hands. Inhale to come all the way up. And then exhale, bringing hands together, heart center. You can close the eyes here and reconnect with that breath. We're gonna just take a moment here to really ground through the feet. So you can lift the toes up, spread them nice and wide. And we're grounding through the 4 points of contact with the mat here, the feet underneath the behind the big toe, with the little toe on both sides of the heels here. And then we'll really ground down through the right foot as we start to lift up with the left. So just lifting that knee. Really making sure that that right leg's nice and stable. You can pick something in front to focus on, something that's not moving, just to help maintain balance. And then when you're ready, you can release the hands here to help you. We're going to come into our tree pose. So there's a few options here. You can bring the foot back down and keep the toes on the mat here and just placing the heel up against the shin. You can lift the foot entirely off the mat and just come into place it on the inside of the calf muscle. Or you can bring it up in between the thighs here. So just make sure that we're not putting it on top of the knee here. So just take time to find which one works for you. It doesn't matter if you are feeling a little bit unbalanced today, if you're falling out of the pose, just take your time and come back to it. You can keep the hands here at heart center, otherwise releasing the hands upwards. Breathing deeply. One more breath. Great. We're going to release the left knee here. And then we're just going to take the right hand onto the right hips. And the left hand's just going to come on top of the knee here. So nice tall stance. Find your balance as you inhale. And then exhale, starting to open that leg out towards the left side here. Really trying to lift up the right kneecaps here, so keep staying really strong in that foundation leg. Perfect. Okay, releasing that left leg back to center, bringing the left hand onto the left hip, and a little bit more strengthening. We're almost there. Inhaling here, and as we exhale, we're going to kick that left leg out in front of us. We'll hold here for 3 breaths. So really challenge yourself today. When you're ready, with control, slowly releasing that left leg back down onto the mat. Great, so you can just walk the feet out here. And then we'll do the same again on the other side. So just taking your time here to really plant down through that left leg. Feeling nice and strong. And once you find that foundation, coming into whatever variation of tree pose you did on the other side. So just take time to come into there. You might also notice that it's a lot easier on one side than it is the other. That's okay. It's our level of curiosity that we'll be bringing into our practice. So once you find that steadiness, or even if you're swaying a little bit today, that's fine. Don't worry too much about it. You can choose to release the hands here if you want to. Breathing deeply. A really good way to strengthen the ankles here. So any balancing poses really help with our concentration levels as well. So you'll notice on days when there's a lot more going on in the mind, it might feel a little bit more difficult to find that balance. Alright, and then when you're ready, we'll just release the right leg out in front of us, taking the left hand just onto the left hip here, and then we'll place the right hand onto the right hip, inhaling here, and then exhale. Strong foundation in the left leg as we start to open the right. Breathing deeply. Inhale to come back through to center. We're going to release the right hand onto the right hip, inhaling here, and as we exhale, cultivating strength here, kicking that right leg out in front, and we'll stay here for 3 breaths. Perfect. With control, gently starting to release that right foot down here, and just walk the feet. Really good job. So from standing at the top of your mat, you're going to take a big step back with the right foot, turning the toes slightly in here. And again, making sure that we're not locking the knees, but there's strength through the legs here. So picking up the kneecaps. We're going to place the hands on the hips here. Inhale to lift tall through the torso, and then exhale, starting to hinge from the hips here. We're going to come down into this nice wide-legged forward fold. You can release the hands here. Nice and high through the hips. Doesn't matter if the knees are bent here. And really pressing into the feet. We're going to bring the hands down onto the mat and just walk them out in front of us. Just pressing the fingertips into the mat as we start to lean back through the hips. You should feel quite an intense stretch here, so just breathing through that. And then pressing into the finger pads, we're going to walk the hands over towards the left side as we start to come onto the right ankle here, and then just lifting up onto the toes of the left side. So finding this little side squat. And keep the hands on the mat here, or otherwise just bring the hands out in front of us. Again, cultivating strength here. We're going to move with breath. We're moving from side to side, so that's fine if you use the hands to get you there. Otherwise, you can keep the hands where they are at heart center and moving from side to side here. Just find something that works for you. So moving with breath, finding this nice rhythm. One more round of breath here. Perfect. So walking hands to about halfway through the mat. We're going to come back into this wide-legged forward fold. Placing hands on the hips, inhale to lift halfway, and then exhale as we press into the feet, lifting all the way up. Going to turn the toes outwards. Inhaling to release the hands up, coming into a 5-point star, and then exhale as we come into our goddess squat here. So sending the sit bones down. We're going to place the hands just on the knees. And a little bit more strength here, and then I promise we're done. So inhale to bring the left shoulder into the center. And then exhale to do the same with the right, moving with breath. One more breath. Perfect, releasing the hands. Inhaling here, and then as you exhale, we're just going to come all the way to standing. Going to come to bring both feet facing towards the top of the mats here. Go through one quick vinyasa, so inhale to release the hands, exhale to fold, inhale lifting halfway, and then exhaling to fold here. Stepping into plank, dropping knees, chin and chest, inhaling to bring yourself up into high cobra, and then exhaling, we're going to come into our downward facing dog. Just take 2 quick breaths here. Well, not quick, take 2 nice breaths here. And then when you're ready, lowering the knees. Going to bring the big toes together, bring the knees about mat width apart, and we'll come into our child's pose. So just bring the forehead down onto the mat here. Starting to slow down that breath. Finding those long, steady breaths again. Quietening the mind here, maybe coming back to finding something you feel grateful for. Be starting to rock from side to side on the forehead here. Pressing into the fingertips, we're going to just come to walk the hands all the way up and behind ourselves. We're going to come back into the more restorative or quieter part of our practice now. So just coming into cobbler's pose here for a moment. So a few options if it's more the inner thighs here that are quite tight. Just bring the heels closer to the body, as long as there's no pain in the knees. Otherwise, if you want to focus more on the lower back here, just making a diamond shape from the legs here, so bringing the heels out a little bit further. So finding that nice tall seat here, and then when you're ready, starting to exhale as we settle into the pose. Really allowing the mind to quieten down here. If you're getting caught up in thoughts, just observing these thoughts as they creep up into the mind, but choosing not to get swept up in them or caught up in them. So tucking chin in towards chest, we're going to gently start to unravel to come back up to sitting. Bringing our feet mat width apart here, we'll just quickly windscreen wipe the legs from side to side. As we gently make our way down to lying on our mat. This time we're going to keep the knees up, the feet about hip width apart from one another, and then just making a big T shape out of the hands here. When you're ready, we're just going to come to drop the knees over towards our right side as we turn our gaze over to the left. Just a very easy version of this laying twist here. If you want the extra twist in it, you can bring the right foot just on top of the left knee here as well. So closing the eyes. Letting the belly be soft. To gently come back through to center. And we'll just turn the head to gaze towards the right side as we let the knees fall over towards the left. I'm really enjoying this nice little twist here. Coming back to the theme of gratitude. Another nice practice that you can bring off the mat with you as well. And getting into this, habit of maybe reminding yourself or noticing all of the things that you have to feel grateful for. And they can be small things. You could feel grateful for the meal that you made for yourself for breakfast, or the coffee someone made for you, for your friends, loved ones, and family, for the roof over your heads, for the furry pets in your life. And we'll just return back to center here. And just taking the knees to the chest here, rolling on the spine, giving it a nice little massage. And I invite you to take or make any movements here that you feel are necessary before we start to settle into our Shavasana. Really take your time. You can put on some extra layers here, maybe bring in a blanket. And when you're ready, just allowing the legs to come out long here. Open the palms up to the ceiling, and then closing the eyes. Starting to bring awareness towards the feet, so on an inhale, squeezing the muscles in the feet, and exhaling to release. Move up the shins and the calves, and an inhale, squeezing the muscles real tight, and exhaling to soften. The tops of the legs, the thighs, on an inhale, squeezing them really tight, and exhaling to release here. Inhale to squeeze the glutes together, and exhale to release. Inhale to squeeze all the muscles from the fingertips to the tops of the arms, squeezing really tight. And exhale to let the palms fall open. Inhale to bring the shoulder blades together, feeling the chest rise. And exhale to release. Inhale to squeeze everything into the center of the face, scrunching it into a tiny ball. And exhale to soften. One more time, inhaling, scrunching everything into the center of the face. And exhale to release. Relax your brow, your eyelids, your tongue, and your jaw. Gently scanning through the body, noticing any areas you can bring a bit of softness towards. Maybe reminding the mind to just stay peaceful for a moment longer. Letting the breath return to its natural rhythm as you settle into our Shavasana. Starting to bring awareness back into the room. Noticing sounds and sensations going on around you. Gently wiggle the toes and rubbing the fingertips together. You can sway the head from side to side. And then inhale, lifting arms up and over. Taking a big stretch as we exhale from fingers to toes. And then just roll onto your left hand side as if you're laying in bed. Take a final moment to rest here. Keeping the eyelids closed, we'll mindfully move to bring the body back up to sitting. Bringing the palms together at heart center, and we'll just start to rub the palms here. Inhaling deeply through the nose. And we'll place the palms over our hands as we open the mouth and sigh that breath out. Coming back to the dedication you may have set in the beginning of practice here. And when you're ready, blinking the eyelids open, reintroducing light. We'll pull the hands away from the face and back to heart center. And namaste. I really hope you guys enjoyed practice. I think we might be getting the okay to have practice in person again soon, which would be really exciting. Otherwise, as always, any comments or questions, just let me know. Thank you.